Arming complete.
I am ready in the front whenever you are.
Okay. And just to jump ahead, we said external searchlight on for the APU, then off for the engines, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested to see what it actually looks like from the outside in the daylight. But yeah, let's just switch it on, pointing down, and we'll have a look in F2 and see what it actually looks like.
There's a battery. There's a searchlight.
Yeah, you can't see that at all. I mean, you can. There's like a tiny.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be able to see that from.
You wouldn't be able to see it from another aircraft. Yeah.
Can you? If I just extend it.
Don't. Oh, it will extend on the battery. It's just really slow.
Okay.
I mean, it's still coming, and also it get from the left. It's behind the gun. So
okay. Yeah, fine.
I think I'd just go strobes on. Yeah, and then
just use the verbals. So we can figure something out.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Okay, test 1 in the back.
Engine 1 fire. Engine 1 fire. Engine 2 fire. Engine 2 fire. APU fire. APU fire. Aft deck fire. Aft deck fire.
Fires warning aft deck and voice it in the back.
Same in the front.
Test 2.
Engine 1 fire. Engine 1 fire. Engine 2 fire. Engine 2 fire. APU fire. APU fire. Aft deck fire.
3 fire, 2 discharge,
Aft
warning
deck
and
fire.
fire in the back.
Same in the front. Testing 1.
Engine 1 fire. Engine 1 fire. Engine 2 fire. Engine 2 fire. APU fire. APU fire. Aft deck fire.
3 lights, warning, EFUD, audios.
Same in the back.
2.
Engine 1 fire. Engine 1 fire. Engine 2 fire. Engine 2 fire. APU fire. APU fire. Aft deck fire. Aft deck fire.
3 lights, 2 lights, warning, EFUD, all the audio.
Same in the back.
I'm happy for start.
Have you let go of the switch?
Yes, but it's been sticking for other people as well. Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
I think there's a front seat to back seat desyncy thing there.
Yeah.
So I don't show them as still on. So.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Okay, APU now. Okay, and the rubby tank is feeding.
Sweet. Radios almost done. So.
My TADs. Can I take the TADs?
Yeah, go for it. Sorry, I was in PTT.
Okay, your TADs.
Thanks.
Okay, I'll start doing some waypoints.
Yeah, you can't drop the control measure because we haven't got a location yet. I just tried to do that.
Do you want me to just plug in?
Yeah, so you can start. You can do the waypoints 1 through 5, and I'll do the 2 control measures once it's spun up. But because it doesn't know where it is yet, it drops it. God knows where.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay,
Yeah, if you just do the enter, enter, enter for C51, it will just drop it. You know, probably where the INS was first built or something.
Right, okay.
What?
It's added. I've entered the first waypoint. I didn't realize it isn't the attack phase, so it's entered it as a target. We can't.
Yeah, you can't edit that. You can.
Okay.
What you can do is add. You can add a waypoint, get to the add bit, and then click on another waypoint, and it will copy the coordinates if you want to do it that way.
Yeah.
Slightly clunky. We have location. I'll do the 2 control measures.
This is going to really tax the synchronization.
Yeah. Let's see if this works. Enter. Let's drop that one.
Works in the back.
Yeah, works in the front as well.
Nicely.
Okay, both the control measures are in. I'm just off headset for 2 seconds.
Okay.
Right, back on. I'll start putting these in a route.
Yeah, please do. just trying to see whether I've messed something up. No, I did something wrong, and it hasn't broke anything, so I'm just not going to question it.
Okay.
Okay, that should be all the points by now.
Yeah, so there is a bit of desync in that if I select something, I just went to try and edit the control measure 52, and it pulled what you were typing in. So
Is that why it's now
it's
co-located?
over?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
just edit C52.
Oh, my TSG just went into instrument spontaneously.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, which would be the top left button. So when I clicked on the top left, when I clicked on L1, you clicked on L1 in your cockpit as well.
Yeah. Interesting.
That's funny. Right, VCA. Papa Victor 9333 8032. There we go. Do we automatically get tracks for multiplayer?
Like, yeah, but they're massive. You can't use them for anything.
Yes, but this is quite near the beginning, so it won't have fucked up by this point.
Sure, but the upload of the track will still be like 5 megabytes. No more than that. Like,
oh, that's fine. We can send that to Big Nui. The desync. So if I actually let me just do this. What happens if I click on this? Is that doing anything in your cockpit?
no, nothing's happening. It might be because we pressed the button exactly the same time.
Simultaneously, yeah.
Because I was zooming the map as you were doing it.
Oh, okay.
But that's going to be a pain to reproduce.
Right, route is duly created.
And you said the radios are done already?
Radios are done. My iHAD's done, and the TADs and the Invis is done. So from my point of view, I'm happy.
Let's do it. Let's do an Eggy Ops.
Yeah.
So I've got it. So I'll do TSD PP 1 and 2 locations match, AC flight 1 and 2 flight page matches in the HDU 2 looks more accurate, so we go with that. Reset number 1. We've got good green confidence and everything. Okay, we'll go with that. Okay, let's do the before starting engine. Wait, no. Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So we are at Envis mode switch. Mine's off. Standby attitude indicator. Engine page and engine page. System. I am good in the front. TGT's 2828.
Okay. what Peregrine did with mine was, so you would go to the second, the auxiliary checklist, whatever, read out
Yes.
the limitations we're going for.
Yeah.
I'd
agree with that.
851, 45, 45, 52 kind of thing.
Yeah. So I think normally then it's you starting, and then it would be it's CPG unless they're doing something else, monitoring, wouldn't it? So the CPG would have the limitations page up. Start limitations are temperature above 851, before 63 NG is an aborted start. No TGT increase within 45 seconds is aborted start, and no NR within 45 seconds of going to idle is an aborted start. And no positive oil pressure within 45 seconds. Start advisory should come off at 52, and if it hangs, we're going to abort the start by going to ignition override. Power levers go to fly at the first indication of NG increase, and the power levers to fly with a temperature below 80 at the time you engage. Those are the limits.
Okay.
I think that's the start plan, yeah.
So, ready brake is off. External lights are on white flash. Inlet ice not required, it's 30 degrees today. Okay, starting first engine. There's RPM. There's idle. There's ignition. Okay, temps back down, pressure moved, rotor's running, everything's good. There's acceleration. And there's the stabilize.
Sweet.
Okay.
Looks good on one. Yep.
Engine 2 now.
Engine 2. Start.
Ignition, RPM, idle.
Starter's gone.
Okay, temps down, pressure's falling, RPM's up, and stable. Okay, continuing, inlet ice is off, rotor brake is off, power levers in a minute, or not, more like a few seconds. It's 66 by the number, I never remember.
I think so, yeah, oil pressure. You see, it doesn't actually have that on there.
No, it doesn't say anywhere, but that's what I've been going by, so.
Everybody appears, yeah, it just has this definition of stabilised, doesn't it? And then just leaves it up to you to interpret what that means.
We'll go with this.
Yeah.
Okay, levers go forward, torques are matching, temperatures are matching, rotor's going up. And there's flight position, RPM is 101.
Yep.
Everything's stable. Okay. Master caution, no warnings. APU's coming off. Okay, APU secured. Ready for the before taxi and takeoffs, I guess.
Yeah. Before taxi checks, chocks.
Are not added to the game yet.
Well, they are added to the game, but they just don't have a physical model. You can chock the aircraft, but they just don't.
Is it worth us then just removing them kind kind of forcefully, even if they're not there then? So.
I think it's probably worth us just verbalising them to make sure you haven't put them in for some reason. It'll be relevant on the deck, won't it, on the ship?
Yes, yeah.
Because
Okay.
you'll spawn with them in place. I don't know whether there's... There's a good point, I haven't actually checked if there is a physical model for them on the ship, but I'm guessing not. You just have phantom shocks.
Or whether they even do anything.
They definitely do something. You can't taxi across them. Like, I've tried that.
But you can lift out of them?
You can lift out of them, yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's good.
Hit anti-ice, we can't do. Anti-ice, you've already confirmed, is off. Bleed air.
Is on?
Anti-ice, again.
Is not on, but it's not needed.
Correct. So processor, we're on SP2. External lights.
Do we want... Actually, we were saying we should put navs on, right, weren't we?
Navs on, I think, yeah.
Navs on bright, okay.
Searchlight.
Is on, why not?
And parking brake.
Is now released. I'm on the brakes.
Happy. Do we want taxi forward to do a brakes check?
Let's
We're
do
going
that.
to use it on the landings, aren't we?
Yeah. Okay, my brake's good.
Copy.
Your brake's good.
My brakes
okay.
are good. Tail wheel.
Locked.
Taxi checks, wheel brakes. We've just checked. Engine page. Looks good to me. And then the other two, so the taxi check, flight page and pilot standby instruments, those are asking you to look at it while you're taxiing and check that, you know, it doesn't fall over or you don't get weird indications when you turn the corners. So for hover taxi, you're going to go straight to before takeoff checks. Weapon system, arm safe.
Check.
Ground override.
Off.
Weapons not actioned, I've got nothing actioned in the front.
Same in the back.
Tail wheel.
Locked.
And showing locked in the front. Park brake.
Off.
PCLs.
Fly.
Power levers. Fuel page. I am looking at, and see aux is on. Fuel quantity matches. Fuel quantity is 3009. E third. I've just got nothing but the tail wheel in the front.
Same in the back.
Engine and flight instruments. Good in the front.
Yeah, look good in the back.
ASE not required. Avionics transponder we can't do. Com I've got Nellis Tower 3271 UHF in the front, guard and 39.5 up, and com Nellis controls on the backup for UHF.
So we've got set 2 on primary and set 3 on the backup.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And that is it. Power check. We guess we can do here and then at the runway end.
Yeah, so we're... Do you want to do the comms? We're going to taxi to 21
Yeah.
right, I guess, which is straight ahead and then left.
Right.
Nellis Tower 36-1 single ship AH-64 at the Jolly Ramp. Hover taxi to 21 hover taxi to northwest EOR.
Okay.
I think that sounds reasonable. Forgot
Yeah.
where we were.
Okay, here comes the power.
So long since I've used the EOR names.
Yeah.
We should be looking for predicted hover torque 68. That is a lot less than 68, isn't it?
Yeah, which is what we saw the other day as well, like...
10%.
Yeah.
That's
the
quite a
winds.
lot in... It's not that windy though, is it?
15 knots?
I suppose, maybe. 10%, I wouldn't be... interesting. We'll see.
Okay, let's move forward then.
Happy days.
Bearing in mind the spawning behaviours of aircraft in this location, let's not do the easy thing and cut forward there.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think there's a Huey there.
Ooh. That's an interesting. So I saw that the other day as well, because of the tailwind strength, as soon as you turn that corner and start running downwind, it just plops you on the ground.
Yep.
It's not like a gradual feed in, it's just like,
No.
within 10
Splat.
degrees of downwind, down.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I think the stabulator, so interestingly that might be one, it might be worth when we do the same turn at the bottom to turn on to echo, try running your stabulator up to 0
Yeah, that's a good idea.
and see if that helps. Is it mad?
Okay, heads out, scanning. Scanning, scanning, scanning. Let's hold the speed about there.
Yeah, I was going to say, and I'd try and keep the wheel height a bit lower so you're in people's line of vision. I'm just a
Okay,
bit
that's fair.
concerned about people trying to taxi underneath us, so 5 to 10 really for the hover taxi.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Just because, yeah, like you kind of want people to see the aircraft, not think, oh, what's this shadow going over the top of me?
Yeah. Okay, this is Echo, I think? Yeah? I haven't been this way in a while either.
Yeah, and then left.
Okay, let's go left here. Watch the tail on the back because of the hawks.
Yeah, tail's clear to the right.
Yeah. And we're not actually going to the EOR, are we?
Well, see, that's interesting. If we're going to do a hover check, we probably don't need to. I mean, all we need to do is essentially verify the hover torque and then land and roll onto the runway, right? So yeah, we haven't got we've done everything as far as I can see. But you could go to the EOR. I don't think any particular reason why you couldn't or shouldn't.
Yes, but I mean, we don't have anything to do because there's no seats to arm or weapons or...
Yes, absolutely. Okay. And I also don't know if we fit on these spacing lines. I have to check that.
Yes, for nose tail and also side side.
Yeah, like can you actually get in there and then taxi round, and or would you have to back out, or I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, opposite direction looks clear.
Yeah, looks clear all the way down to the right that I can see as well.
Yeah, approaching clear. No traffic on the runway.
LS Tower KT-61, single AH-64, taking 21 right, rolling departure, and then left turn out via Sunrise.
Okay, so it's basically going to be a duck re-entry, but without the end bit.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. So yeah, this is just note your hover torque on the runway heading, and you see you've got 67 there.
I'm slowing down. So I've fed in quite a lot, like to kind of counter the...
Yeah.
So you'll see once we roll back in, it's probably going to stop.
So maybe you are getting that 10%. See what it is on the...
But also, altitude, we were at 4 foot before, and now we're at 10. So
now we're at 10, yeah. Good.
Yeah, look, that's 60, which is at 10. So, yeah. Okay, so we'll go down. I think we can probably swap the INU at this point as well, because we're set it to reset. So
on it. Correct. Swap to 2, resetting 1.
Okay, and verify INU is roughly where it should be, which is good enough, I guess.
Yeah, it's close enough.
Okay, do we want to walk through the ATM thing for this, or just
the rolling takeoff? Yeah, so I mean, in terms of the ATM task, I think the things that are here are 10% hover torque limitation.
Yeah.
So we're hovering, so essentially call it 50%, right?
Yeah, 50.
Something like that. And then it's also about having that not nose down attitude, isn't it? So essentially coming to level, rolling, and then not going below 5 degrees nose low. So the gouge, I think, essentially is to be in transition the whole time, and then start the aircraft rolling with the cross on the horizon line, and then as you accelerate, go no no lower than the top of the cross level with the horizon line.
Which is 5 degrees nose down.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's a nice reference. What actually happens is you fly off the runway really, really quickly. So if you do use 50% torque, we will lift off the runway at 20 knots, probably. So what I'd probably do is actually use quite a bit less than that and get the aircraft rolling at 35 or something like that, and then you'll probably find that at 35 you'll be able to balance on the mains with the nose level, and then you'll be able to go to 5 degrees nose down and sort of get up to airspeed, and then essentially lift off with your left hand by setting that 50%. Does that make sense?
Yeah, kind of makes sense. So we'll go 30% for the start.
Yeah. And then you just keep, obviously, you just keep everything in longitudinal trim, you know, down the centre line.
Yeah. So there's 30, feeding in 35.
Yeah, I'd probably go 35, maybe 40. You'll get a little bit of speed.
Yeah.
And what will happen is, as you get some speed, there you go. So you should be able to just put the cross on the horizon on just the main gear and be kind of wheels light and just accelerate like this. And to be honest, it will probably start flying away like this.
About now, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and
we'll
so
go
if you just tuck the nose a little bit and feed in a little bit of torque, there you go.
Yeah, there it goes. Okay.
And you just keep it in longitudinal trim and
keep going up.
yeah. And then you're kind of climbing up, and then what you're doing is the profile from that level acceleration takeoff. So you're climbing up to 20, 25, and then tucking the nose a little bit to get up to your bucket speed, your 75, before you completely leave sort of one engine back to the runway land, like now. And now you're up to 75, and now you just hold your 75 to climb away.
Yeah. So we're going to try and hold the contracted at 400 to 300.
3 to 400, and yeah.
400 to 300 or 3 to 4.
Oh, sorry, it's 300 feet per minute to 400 feet.
Okay, yeah.
That's the Huey compatible contract.
Right, yeah.
I mean, all the Apache ATM tasks say 500 foot per minute climb.
Yeah. And we're going to go 400 feet, which is the minimum standard kind of turn away for US Army helicopter.
Or 200 below your pattern altitude, which is essentially the same, right? So you're at 2200 now, pattern's at 25, so you can start turning out.
So a turn, do you want to give a com for crossing to one left, or?
Yeah, well, that's a good point, actually.
This target is 61 left turn out of the golf course from 21, crossing 21 left.
Yeah, not necessarily required, but I suppose...
I feel like, because it's not like...
quite a long time since we... Yeah, I think you're right.
Do you know what I mean? And also, like, jets might be expecting us to go right if we're taking runways and whatever. Yep. Okay, so we're pilotage. I've got big road in sight, basically off the nose at this point. I'll hold 450 feet-ish until we're into that gap. Well, probably even then as well.
Yeah. So this is the thing. If you come straight across the runway at midfield and you sort of head out towards the mountains and then turn right, you see that first road by the two little trees and the power lines and that cluster, and you turn up before that. That's the police shooting range. Just sort of in the distance left of the flight path marker. And you want to go beyond that, so it does look a bit masked if you're coming from the left. If you're coming from the jolly pad, I think the other visual reference to give people is the tower blocks that are in the 10 o'clock now. Just sort of say head to them first, and then and then I always think this pylon right on the little hill where the home plate is always particularly rude. Like,
it's
right there. Flex nearly ran into that the other day. I was like, how long do I leave this before I say something? And I was just, waiting, and then he suddenly went, oh shit, wires? And I was like, yes, you're about 1 second from me just telling you.
LSE Tower K61, single ship Apaches in the south gap, sunrise departure outbound, switching. Apache, South Gap outbound on the Sunrise departure, 0 to 500 AGL, route south from Boulder City.
Okay, so we're following this road until we find a little spur off to the left, which I think I can see already over that way. Maybe.
Okay, I'll believe you.
Maybe? I don't know, we'll find out in a few seconds.
Yeah, you might be. Oh, yeah, when you zoom in, yeah, I can see
Yeah.
that. But...
This, the aerodynamic trim of the Apache is a little bit too cocked off to the side, isn't it? In DC.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they. I think the working consensus is they may have doubled the side slip angle somehow.
Yeah. Because it does feel a little bit rude
Yeah.
that you have to fly towards the pylon where you can't actually see anything.
Yeah, and I think that the thing is, if you don't if you can't see, then just sacrifice the
trim.
the nose, the perfect aerodynamic trim, and just say, well, tough, I'm going to be in nose tail, and certainly at NOE altitudes where you need to see, then just bring it to nose tail trim, longitudinal trim like it is now.
Yeah. Okay. So here's our spur road. Let me actually bring up the correct charts face, which is this one. There's our farms. So we fly to the bridge. I'm going to do go past it, do a big left-hand turn, giving you the control, and
Okay,
then we can
and then
we
start
can
your
pass,
timing
pass
over
back
there.
over it. Yeah, exactly that.
Yep. Sweet.
Actually, this is something I forgot to ask. We do have a stopwatch in this, right? I don't have to manually. I just click the time button.
You've got two, so you've got an instrument on the TSD, you've got a stopwatch,
Yeah.
and then you've also got the timer on the EFUD. And they're both independent in the front and back cockpit, so you can have between you can have 4 timers running.
Yeah, I've accidentally stopped the radios. I don't know which one's control anymore, but whatever. How do you reset this time? This clock then?
Press and hold.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you have swapped the radios. No, we're on control. 3854.
Okay,
Yeah,
I was swapping them, so I just pressed it a few times and hope for the best.
Okay. Well, you got back to the right one. It's fine.
Okay. Okay, here's our farms feature then. Not much to it. It seems they think solar panels are trees, which is an interesting artistic interpretation, I think.
Yeah. Nice. Oh well. What can you say?
Okay. Pushing up 100 knots just to set it up, a little bit bumpy.
Yeah, sweet.
Okay, here's our significant feature. At now, we go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start a turn. And we're passing over 176, so should hopefully line that up roughly alright.
Oh, is it one? Yeah, 176.
Might be a little bit off to the right actually. We'll see. Yeah, so we need to check to the right in a minute, but I'll leave that up to you.
That's fine. Sort that
Okay.
out.
You have control.
I have control.
You sure about that?
Yeah. Collective was not where I thought it was going to be at all.
Okay.
Alright,
Okay.
you are passing over.
Fly
the
heading
bridge.
176.
176. And
Speed.
100 knots ground speed.
Yep, 100 knots, please. Okay, timer is running 10 seconds already. Oh, interesting. I'm still seeing Boulder City on our waypoint 3, but that's fine. We can just vision that for that.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess it's technically heading like 182 or something.
Yeah, it's a little bit. I've got
Yeah.
track up on my instrument page, so I'm just using that for the wind.
Okay, that's fair. So Peregrine taught me the little gouge thing with the
things at the top.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, speed's a little bit fast, so well, actually that's true.
Yeah, I'm using the ground in the bottom left, so 98 under waypoint 1. That's your ground speed.
Tracking. Okay, that's 1 minute 30. Another 1 minute 30 to run.
Yeah, so what I've done to fly the heading is I've put the instrument page up, typed in the 176, and then I've put it in heading up, track up rather than heading up, so I can literally just fly, and that's giving me a wind corrected 176.
Okay, that's simple. Yeah, so you just line up the heading with the central
Heading
line.
with the book, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Okay, that's 2 minutes 30 of flight, 28 to go. Speed's good, heading is good. And now we're looking for horizontal feature with dirt road running off. So here's our iron road. It's not as defined as I was hoping. I think this is it here actually. This
Oh yeah, visual, yeah,
Yeah.
you are right, spot on, yeah.
With
absolutely, with
yeah.
the junction.
Yeah, exactly, and the bridge off to the left. Okay, so we'll pass that in a moment. Okay, clock is resetting. And your heading will be 130.
130.
Or your track rather. So track 130.
Tracking
now.
130.
Time starts. About there-ish.
Copy. I'm just going to come a tiny bit back to the left just because I turned a bit late.
Yeah.
Come back out 130 in a second.
Yeah, and I guess, I mean, if this was actual nav, we could cross-check with the course over the ground, which we see this linear peninsula thing should be on the right of course by about 100 meters. So,
Okay.
but it's close enough, I think.
Okay.
Okay, that's a minute run, 1 minute 14 to go. Scan your head, Scaly.
It's such a good cheat, isn't it? Like, nice. It was green shit overlaid. right about location. This is much better than the Echo Bay route, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot more detailed and interesting. Yeah. Okay, 1 minute 39 run, 54 seconds to go. No, correction, 34 seconds to go. And we're looking for observation.
The car park.
Yeah, the car park thing, yeah. Which I think is probably just behind that spike off our nose, but we'll see. Okay, 10 seconds to go. Somewhere.
Oh, going down the left side of the aircraft.
Oh yeah, visual.
No.
Okay.
New heading.
155.
155, copy.
Clock resets 5 seconds late. And we're looking at 3 minutes 10 seconds of run time now.
Copy. 155.
Should probably coordinate our heads down because we both just typed that in at the same time.
Yeah.
It doesn't, does it sync? As in, like, is it the same? No, okay.
No, we can have that independent.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything on the TSD is independent, I think, by design, because...
Actually, give us a heading of 150, sorry. Just,
150, copy.
Because the aim off...
Oh yeah, because you want your aim off, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, this is a lot nicer terrain, like actual trees and
Yeah.
mountains made of more than 2 polygons. Okay, minute 30 run. We said 3 minute 10. Minute 40, but yep.
It's got some wires on the nose, middle distance.
Visual. We should be just going over the top of them.
Yeah. Just I'm kind of holding the 300, give or take. Seems to be like low enough to make it reasonably tricky to spot stuff, but not low enough to be impossible.
Mhm. I think that's actually that power station feature that we were originally.
Oh yeah.
Half right.
Yeah, there's one here, isn't there? One on the right. Yeah.
Okay, there's 2 minutes 40, 30 seconds to run.
But I've got traffic on the road on the nose. I can't see the road, you can see the traffic. The
yes.
Lorry in the right, 1 o'clock.
We probably should have, before, have looked at what the topography was like for...
Yeah.
This is the road, right?
Yeah, this is the road.
This is the road, okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, so bring it right and run it along the road, and then...
Along the road. Copy, coming right.
I'm thinking, actually, this is it. On the post of this turn, actually.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so you know, right, there's like a white square in the right.
Yeah.
1 o'clock, just wrapping around before we hit these wires. Yeah, that's the. So you got the white square is actually a visitor centre thing that they haven't modelled.
I was going to say it's a very nice visitor centre. Okay, I guess I'll take it back then for the pilotage into Boulder City. Let me just update my chart quick.
Okay.
Okay. When you're ready.
Alright, you have the aircraft?
I have control. Ooh, or not.
Oh, except this one's not set properly. Okay, I'll just... you ready?
Yeah.
Coming over.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, the 2 on the jolly ramp, I think for some reason are set to co-pilot responsibility controls. I've messaged Duke about it.
Right, okay.
Which is annoying. And obviously because people have been using them single single ship, like single crew. You haven't noticed.
Yeah. Okay, let's pump it up to 700 for an overhead, or are we going straight in, do you think? Or?
I would probably do the pattern, I think it's probably easier. So yeah, let's go up to, it's the traffic patterns at 2,800 MSL, so we can probably just come straight up to that.
Yeah.
We are... what, 3 miles out, so...
Notice control K61 single Apache traffic pattern operations Boulder City. Loading in this frequency.
Okay, and because of the way we're coming in, I reckon we're going to do a entering the right downwind for 27.
Right downwind for 27, correct.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you offset right a little bit, then you come in on the 45, join the downwind.
Yeah. I don't have the waypoint here.
Oh, yeah, copy.
Yeah,
So probably that heading, and you'll see it in the left.
Yep.
In fact, you can already see it just behind the crane now. Yeah, you're on
visual.
side.
Yeah.
Boulder City traffic Coyote 61 single ship AH-64 Apache 2 miles north inbound to join the left downwind for 27.
Okay, and there's our runway. Probably about now.
I would guess, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Pretty better to be too wide than too close.
Yeah. So to the runway at the moment, you're about 3 kilometers, so about 1.5 miles.
Okay.
Looking at the TSC. So yeah, you're going to turn probably bang on a mile, I would have thought.
27 reciprocal is 0. Wait, have I?
No.
Oh, I have. I see. I'm looking the wrong way. That's why.
Yeah. Wrong runway. Yeah, 09.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks good. That's a nice distance. That measures as it's going to be almost bang on 2 kilometers.
Okay.
So 1 nautical mile. So in fact, it's scarily close to exactly a nautical mile of beam.
That's pilotage.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay.
So yeah, call that good.
Boulder City traffic K61 right downwind 27.
Yeah, and then so your run-on's exactly the same. It's just
a little bit longer.
Well, a little bit longer final, and
yeah.
Not slowing down as much.
There's trim reset. Always a little bit bumpy. Pretty.
Boulder City traffic K61 right base 27.
Maybe a little bit high actually, but we can sort that out. Is this the same 10-degree glide that you do for hovering?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd shoot it for 10 degrees and shoot it to the threshold for 10 degrees and then shallow it.
Yeah, give it like a flare.
Yeah, sort of flare. Yeah.
Alright, let's bring this around a little bit more, square it off. Okay, and commit.
Boulder City traffic K61 turning finals 27. Touch and go.
Touch and go or full stop?
Well, what I'd probably do is just do full stop on the runway and then immediately just depart again, if that makes sense. So sort of down to 0 and then...
in the Harrier land, that's called a roll and go.
I was about to say, technically it's a to roll, yes.
Yes. Okay, there's my thing. It's probably going to be more like 7. Looking down, that's 7. Let's give it flat a little bit.
Yeah.
Keep
and
the
I think
airspeeds.
you're on an airspeed profile that is like your hover muscle memory's taken over.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll keep this up. We're touching down at what, like 30, 40-ish?
Yeah, above ETL, so you don't want to sort of be starting to lose ETL, really, because the time you do this, it would be power limited, right? So you wouldn't want to get clever, but you start to lose ETL maybe at 25, right? So if it were me, and I was genuinely needing to do this, I'd give myself a pad, and because if you lose ETL close to the ground, you can't get it back, right? You're just going to hit the ground. So I would say, above 30, really.
Yeah, okay.
Sensible margin.
Okay, there's 10, there's threshold.
Yeah, it looks nice.
Bringing the nose in at this point, a little bit off to the right, keeping the airspeed up.
Yeah, I do the same thing as well. I come into longitudinal trim early in the rolling landings just because I kind of want to work out the wind and whether I need one side low or the other. So yeah, just couple it all up. And then the other sort of tidbit is not to lose track of where the nose of the aircraft's pointing. So just keep the head tracker in your scan.
Okay. Let's not drop the airspeed lower than that.
Yep, looks nice. And then if you just sort of set level attitude, you set cross on the horizon, and then you just cushion the touchdown with your left hand only, what you'll probably find is that'll just, a
little bit early,
and
but
you almost don't need to cushion the touchdown in DCS because it's
Yeah,
so
I'm
much
actually-
ground effect in the last few feet. You'll struggle to actually get on the runway.
there it is.
Yeah, mates. Trim, keep the disc level. A little bit of right cyclic, keep the disc level.
Yeah.
And back cyclic, and then just let it roll out. And you can do full back cyclic if you want with sort of 25% torque. There's no, you're not going to chop the tail off or anything.
Yeah. There's brakes, collectives down,
Sweet,
and we're stopped. Cool.
nice. Okay, I mean that was uneventful.
Yeah. Reasonably.
Happy?
Yeah, happy. Let's do an INU thing if we haven't already.
Yeah, we have not swapped recently.
It's
that is
actually
reset. And
Bang on, actually.
yeah.
Okay, well,
Interestingly, the location is currently drifting upwards at some fairly alarming rate.
oh my god, yeah.
But the velocities are perfect.
Okay, let's go with INU 1 and reset 2.
Yeah. But you see, they match. This is the thing. When that happens, the position confidences are always the same. I don't understand. Like,
It's just bugged. I think we're trying to attribute
It's-
modelling to what is just a bug.
yes, you're
Yeah.
right. We are. Yeah. Okay.
Boulder City traffic, K61, departing off 27, departure to the south.
Do we have enough runway? Yeah, we always have enough runway.
Yeah,
It's a
easily.
dumb-
Do we have enough?
That's a dumb question.
Stupidest fucking question ever. So yeah, do the rolling again. So yeah, just go 30, 35. Get a bit of speed on.
There's movement.
Turn
There's
taxi. Yeah. Bring it to
35.
level, and you could probably. I think if you cap this at 45% torque, you'll get off the runway at 45.
We're off the
Without
runway now.
difficulty.
At 40,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Sweet. And then just don't just keep that torque setting, and then just level accelerate. So don't climb. Just keep your level down the runway. Maybe get up to 50 knots. Let it bump up to 20-ish feet. Or give yourself a little bit of space, and then keep the 20 to 75. Because this is where, if you had an engine failure, you're just gonna go back on the runway, right? Like, and then yeah, somewhere here you can start climbing out. You will need a bit of collective, I think, because I'm not sure you'll climb out 40% torque.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, and then we're turning left into that big expanse of featureless fuck all down there.
Yep. Let's zoom ourselves up to 400 here, actually.
Yeah.
More juice.
More of it, yeah.
With a patchy climb.
Yeah, not a Huey climb. Absolutely.
There's 400, turning down. Okay, so we'll do 72 knots for the endurance. We'll do altitudes, whatever it dictates in the package, which I don't have.
Yeah, it doesn't actually give you starting altitudes. It just sort of says high. So
Okay.
yeah, you can go up to whatever the overlying airspace is here. It's like 6,000,
Okay.
something like that. So yeah, can go up to plenty.
Yeah.
I'd probably go up to 4,000 MSL.
Yeah.
And essentially, while you're climbing out, you can do that transient torque demo that it's talking about. So if you literally just fix your left hand,
Yeah. Hands off.
look at the torque meter, and then give it a fistful of left cyclic, you'll see a a torque spike. It's
Went-
not very big, like
Went up
1%.
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, and you'll get the same if you, in theory, if you nose down aggressively,
Goes
you'll
down.
see a torque decrease. Yeah, absolutely. So there's various torque transients, and it is just mainly like knowing, that those are going to happen.
Yeah.
And that is the torque. That is the transient torque.
Yeah.
There is no more to it than that.
Do we want to set a recovery altitude at 700 AGL on the?
I was going to say, yeah, before you do the diving
Yeah.
stuff, I would just put that low out bug in. Do you want me to? I might as well just do that.
Yeah, really good.
700 set low out. I'm just going to set the high above it, just on the off chance that there's some DCSism that stops those firing the wrong way round.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. The next one is the induced flow thing, which is the one we're not really sure how much it models it in DCS. The way to do this is we'll do it rotor loaded and see if it does anything, and then we'll do it rotor unloaded where we know it kind of definitely does. So if we set up on a particular heading, get into sort of a 5 to 10 degree dive with the at like 50% torque or something like that.
Okay. I'm gonna push it down here to give us more forward space, but yeah.
Yeah.
So 50% torque, 5 degree dive. You said.
Yeah, and then get up to 120 knots, and then pull the nose up and see. And you need the engine page up because you need to look at the rotor RPM while you're doing that. So essentially, all of these you need the engine page up.
Border City traffic. KO61 is defined south 5 miles. Switching numbers control.
Back up. You were always at UHF. Yeah, so call it 50% torque, something that'll give us sensible. That seems reasonable, doesn't it?
Yeah.
90 knots, nose over, 120, reasonable backstick pull, and yeah, we're just essentially watching to see what we should see is a little RPM rise in the NR. Whether that will actually happen.
Do you want me to fix my stick or hold the collective? As in, like, hold the.
You need to hold the collective. You need to just get a good bit and then give it a good sort of, not a yank back, but a reasonable nose up transient.
Okay, filling.
Yeah, there you go. NR went up to 104.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then as you saw as the nose dipped back down, the NR went down to 99.
Yeah.
And you saw the engines, the engine TGTs go up and down kind of dramatically.
And the torque dropped off to 20%.
The torque dropped off. Yeah, absolutely. So you get those transients.
Okay.
And the same will happen if the disc unloaded. So essentially, if you set back up, this speed's probably actually good for disc unloaded. So we'll do this at 80 knots and pull at 100. If you essentially do like a power on auto rotation, so just dump your collective and enter a dive to maintain the airspeed. And then once you get to maybe 100 knots, again keeping an eye on the rotor RPM, give it a bit of a more gentle yank this time, otherwise the rotor RPM really will spike. Yeah, go for it. And go 103, 104,
Yeah.
straight away. And that's because you're driving. So the first effect is purely that disc getting smaller, jobby. The second time you did it, that's actually got some aerodynamics as well, in that when you pull, you're feeding more airflow into the bottom of the rotor in an auto rotation state, and so it just runs away straight away.
Yeah.
And that one definitely will damage stuff, like as in if you're on a steep, you're coming off a mountain or something steeply downhill, trying not to accelerate too much, you're doing it at very minimal collective, and you just drag the nose out of the bottom, that will spike the rotor RPM because you haven't got any load on the blades, because you haven't got any collective in. So what we're going to do is going to do that again with pulling a bit of collective in.
Yeah, okay.
And this is essentially the 5 degree dive recovery that we've skipped ahead to a little bit, so it actually makes sense to do these in that order. Put the dive one up there, yeah.
Okay, I come around to the right again.
Yep, looks good to the right.
If you're used to the Hornet symbology, looking over your right hand shoulder with the current HEU
Yeah.
is alarming.
It's really weird, isn't it?
Yeah. The interesting thing on the power off rotor RPM thing we just did, there's, because you're already so far back on the stick for the auto rotation, there's not much more you can actually pull back to demonstrate that.
No.
Yeah.
But you don't need to pull back much to demonstrate it.
That's
you,
true, yeah.
You got the warning like straight away, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you do the same again. So essentially a near full down. I mean, it doesn't have to be full down collective. Dive, pull up, but as you pull, put some collective in. So essentially, as the rotor RPM is trying to rise, you're also giving it some more work to do to kind of control that rise by increasing the rotor drag, by increasing collective.
Okay, so same thing. Collective goes down.
Yep. Dive at whatever airspeed you like, and then as you pull back, pull in the collective to control to stop the rotor spiking, the rotor RPM spiking.
Yeah. So there's 110.
Yep.
Pulling back.
Yeah. So you've got
matching
103.
with collective coming up.
Yep.
Kind of. Yeah. There it goes.
Yeah.
There's level.
Yeah. Nice.
Probably more collective.
Yeah. Good to use a little bit more collective. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so the more aggressive. So the key point of that is, as you're diving, if you're trying to pull out in the bottom of a dive, you can't just do it with one hand, basically.
Yeah.
Even though you think you might be like, oh, I'm at 160 knots, I could just pull with my right hand, pull the nose to level, and let the airspeed bleed off, and that's reasonable. But you can't. You will overspeed the rotor, and you can overspeed the rotor a lot doing that. Probably enough for like shit to start falling off the helicopter. And that's what happens to auto gyros in reverse. If you've ever seen any of the videos of like auto gyros just completely losing control and falling out of the sky, that if they do the opposite, nose over, if you think about it, they are in auto rotation all the time. So if they push the nose down too hard, they just lose all rotor RPM, become a brick.
I was also, that makes sense. I was going to say something about them not having the ability to power the rotor at the bottom, but I realised it doesn't matter because it's just about pitch, not about power.
Yeah, well, they can't. Yeah, they can't change the rotor pitch collectively at all. They've only got a cyclic, so.
Oh, you can't collectively change in an auto. Oh.
No.
Okay. So they have the same problem at the bottom then as well, don't they?
Yeah, they can. Yeah. But their rotors, because their rotors aren't powered, it doesn't really. I mean, they can overspeed them, but they don't really overspeed them very easily because there's nothing connected to them. So, like, what can you damage by going too quickly? But if it goes too slowly, there's no way of speeding it back up again.
Because there's no.
If it goes too slowly and you become a brick, you're just a brick now. Like,
it's kind of I feel like there should be a collective, at least in emergency ones. You could just drop it in and regain that speed. But okay.
Well, there are some there are some auto gyros that have that kind of capability to do that.
Okay, that's reassuring. Okay, fuel check 2300, still good. I would be surprised if we ever run out.
Agree. So the other one then is actually let's just carry on with the dive stuff probably easily. So we've done essentially that's the 5 degree. Do a 15. So if we get a decent bit of altitude, just use the performance and get up to 4.5 or something.
And this is power on or power off diving still?
This is power on. So these dives are sort of to demo, if you like, what you'd be doing in a diving rockets or something. So yeah, grab a chunk of altitude and then just set a sensible below cruise or at cruise collective and say 80 knots, whatever, 90 knots, set your level cruise. And this is the one where it's saying as you pull out, again modulating your left hand, so as the stick comes back, pulling a little bit more collective, and then once you've recovered to nose high and you're trying to nose back over to the level, nose over but also reduce the collective. So you should see roughly, so if you're gonna if let's say if you're going to do 50% torque, then you should see roughly 50% torque for the whole manoeuvre, and you try and kind of fix those transients.
Okay, let's choose something a little bit slower then.
Yeah, I think you're probably going to be 80 and 40 something would probably be sensible.
Let's go with this, 40%.
Yep, looks good.
Okay, so power on nosing over.
Yeah, and go to go to 15, which is much. This is what I mean about it looks really bizarre in a helicopter. Like, yeah. There's your 15.
Collective's down to master 42.
Yep. And then as you pull up, you're going to find that the torque will drop if you don't lift the collective a bit. Yeah. Nice. It's going to come all the way up.
There you go.
Up. Yeah, and then just lift off. Yeah. So that's it, really.
Simple.
Yep. Can I steal this for a second?
Yeah, you have control.
Alright, I have control. Yeah, so I guess the only thing, I haven't actually done that much of this, to be fair. I just don't know how much performance we'll get out of this here. Is that torque, RPM? What's the limit we're hitting here? We're not, just it's a temperature limit. Okay.
With this fuel check, it's just check and then like 15 or something, right?
Yeah, check, choose a time, hit start, and it will should start running.
Okay.
And you can both see that, so it's shared. And what will happen is if no one's on the fuel page, when it finishes, it'll pop up an EFUD warning that says fuel check complete, and that'll stay until someone looks at it.
Okay, cool.
I'm just going to try this as a 20 and see what happens. See if we... So...
Diving into the shadow.
Yeah, no, fine. I don't know what the cruise torque's going to be here for 80 knots. Something like that. Okay. So, what the ATM's talking about is keeping the aircraft in longitudinal trim as you go down. There's 140, and as you pull, just trying to keep the torque matched. And then, yeah, there's that big transient at the end, so I took the collective out. And as you go down, so I don't think it's... So you're getting a torque drop when you pull, but what's interesting is you don't need to do much when you nose over. I don't know how realistic that is, but there we go.
Are we
Okay,
perhaps not nosing over aggressively enough?
Probably not, and it's probably a bit of a fast jet thing, isn't it? That we're kind of used to very asymmetric stuff. I don't know.
Because like, if you punch the cyclic forward, no, nothing.
Not a lot.
Yeah, that
the rotor RPM changes, but the torque doesn't. I mean, to some degree, this is a function of the engine management system as well. Like, because obviously in a governed helicopter, some of this is what it decides to do as well as what you tell it to do.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Right, I don't have any particular.
What have we missed off the
What's
syllabus?
the next one? Well, there's a bit more. There's a 30 dive as well, which I just want to try before I try and describe.
Yeah, just check
way.
the top altitude as well, 6,000.
Yeah.
Well, even though we don't model that in our group. Just
No, but yeah, we might as well just stick to it. And I'm going to start this at 65. Just so we've got loads of airspeed. So in trim at 65 knots, and this is going to need quite a lot of nose down to actually get down to 30. And this is what I mean by it looks completely bonkers in a helicopter. Like,
Yeah.
just looks silly. A dive angle that you wouldn't think twice about in a fixed wing.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even want to try a 45 or a 60.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, you'd be VNE in like 2 seconds. So
yeah.
Yeah, all right. Do you want to do that one, and then I'll just read the other bits, and we'll do the other bits.
Yeah, sure.
All right, you have the aircraft.
I have the aircraft. I'm ready.
Swift has control. Sweet.
Perfect. So altitude's up. The only other thing we haven't done as well is fuel management necessarily.
Yeah, the fuel management ATM task essentially says you're able to run the fuel check and not run out of fuel.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
The main purpose of having it in this flight is to show people the fuel. To make them do some fuel planning, which I know you can do, but like it's to talk through like, how do you work out a bingo? Oh, well, I work out how much I need to get back. Yes, and then you add a reserve. Yes, and then if it's a IFR, you add. Do you know that's the bit of it?
Yeah. We also haven't done the turning, cycling back.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's weight versus collective. There's positive, negative G, and there's pitch up, down in turns. The 3 things I've still got written.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go into the light area, so not diving into a shadow. I probably go slower airspeed.
I was going to say I started that at 65, and I ran into VNE or DCS VNE pretty fast. Maybe even 60 as a starter. I think it's probably.
Yeah. This is. Look at the wind.
I know.
Yeah. So, nosing over, is it nose tail trim as we nose over, or should I just keep the aerodynamic?
To be honest, I would just keep the aerodynamic trim, but whichever one you're choosing, I'd just, certainly from an instruction point of view, if you're teaching this, ask the student, like, what trim are you flying?
Yeah.
And then they're keeping that. So if you're keeping aerodynamic trim, great, you're keeping aerodynamic trim. I certainly wouldn't try nose tail, you've got 30 knot crosswind, so.
Yeah, okay. So, nose goes over, collective should go down, but it doesn't.
Yeah. Keep pushing, push. There we go.
Oh my
god. I know, exactly.
Screw
and then
it.
140, 150 knots, pull and pull. Pull and pull. That's 2.3 G, which was fine. And then keep your recovery coming, and you can keep the nose up back to your 60 knots, right? So you've got your 3,000 foot per minute climb rate. So it's just like the Hornet. You can, if you can climb it back to altitude using airspeed, that's totally fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Sweet.
Lost me vector. There it is.
Yeah, where is the velocity vector?
Yeah.
Somewhere. Fucking hell. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay. So that's all the plus minus stuff. There's positive and negative G stuff, but I kind of feel like we've already done that. But for argument's sake, if you just flip the set page up on so flight and then set, so you've got continuous G.
Yeah.
And just in straight and level, just maybe get up to like 100 knots, and then just push and pull and see where you're kind of what G's you get.
Okay, so pull.
See, so that's only 1.3. You're not really getting that. Push is 0.5. So even being quite aggressive on the pushover, you don't get much. And then hold that nose down and hold a big nose down and see if you can hit like a 2 point something on the pull out.
Okay, it gets a bit squirrely.
Yeah. There you go, 1.8. So actually, you've got.
You'll be nominal between like 0.5 and 1.5.
Yeah.
You'd struggle to go above that.
Yeah. But 2G pullout's absolutely fine. So again, it's don't worry too much about. Yes, be smooth, but you don't have to be gentle. Does that make sense? Like.
Yeah, like the displacement doesn't need to be minimal. You
Correct.
Can pull to the edge of the zone as long as you don't yank it to the edge of the zone.
Yes, absolutely. Right, if we turn left and we'll head south, and what we're going to do, we'll actually keep this heading because the return demos are the pitch down. So the first thing with the pitch down is to just essentially set an airspeed, so set like 100 knots, and then just as much as you can, trying to sort of just not do much with the fore and back stick, just roll in like a 45 degrees of 45 degree bank.
Just do we want to do this not here, like lower down, so that we're not at 30 degrees of offset?
Oh, at 30 knots. Yeah, can you?
Do you know what I mean? Just because, like,
yeah,
if the idea is to do, you know, rolling and turns around a point and stuff, it's going to get a bit.
Yeah, all I was going to do was the nose down tendency, but yes, you are right. That is, it would make more sense to do it lower down when you've got ground references.
Nose down, and also like you could tell like whether it's the
what's actually
what's going down and
yeah. I can completely.
Yeah. Let's call it at 3,000, which is like 1,000 AGL-ish. 1,300, yeah. 1,200. Okay.
Alright. Everything looks clear. Still can't see much to the right. That sun's kind of, there we go. Doesn't look like there's anything we're going to run into. Yeah, so the purpose of the demo is essentially just to stick some bank on and then just see the nose getting pulled down. I'm not really sure how to demonstrate this. What you really detect it as is that you have to put kind of top pedal in to turning.
So we go left or?
Either way, don't mind.
Okay.
Right, it's what should be worse to the right. The effect should be worse to the right, but whatever. But if you...
This is the thing. If I'm turning and keeping the ball centered, it's left pedal to keep it on. It's nosing up almost.
Yes. Yeah, I don't really know how to demo it. It's almost just worth just to talk about it. But it is definitely present. Like if you absent-mindedly just roll in and you don't try and hold altitude or trim, the nose does go down and it does just sort of settle and sag and get pulled down. It's definitely there. But when you're concentrating on turning, you fly it out naturally. So it's a bit difficult to demo. It's like sort of saying to someone, don't think about your breathing. Like, okay, can't do that now.
Like that, like, so if I don't even move anything, just stick to the side.
Yes.
Nose goes down.
Yes.
It's almost like it's rotating around a point that's like slightly up from where, like,
yeah, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you'll notice it sort of on the finals turn, just if you keep the aircraft turning, particularly to the right a lot, the nose will just gradually get sucked. And the airspeed will build. You know, even if you don't do very much, you'll just see the airspeed ticking up gradually as the nose is getting pulled down and
Yeah, okay.
And if you do it in a bubble-shaped helicopter and an Apache, the effect should be worse in this one. Weight versus the big turning one is this sort of weight versus lift versus collective thing. So this is basically just you take the student and you set them up at an airspeed, and I would suggest 90 knots is probably sensible. And you just set up a fixed airspeed, and you say, you know, roll into the turn and use the collective to maintain altitude. So, you know, here's your 90 knots to, 2700. So 45 degrees of bank, you should expect to be at about 80% torque, I would suspect. Keep turning, keep banking, put a bigger bank angle on just to demo it, and then just left hand for level flight. But you see what's happening? Left hand for level flight, but your airspeed's going up. And that's EFABs.
Right. I think.
Yeah, and then that's actually took a lot less torque increase than.
Yeah, I'm kind of I'm just gonna push it over here
Yeah.
and keep pulling on this.
See, what's actually is the engine power, but we haven't really got a good power gauge. Because the other thing is, because if you think about it, because we're pulling back on the cyclic and we're loading G on the aircraft, and you're at 1.6 G, you've also got that rotor coning effect.
Mm-hmm.
So the torque that you're pulling now is not necessarily, it's not in the same frame of reference as the torque you're pulling straight and level. You might have doubled the engine power requirement, but you haven't doubled the torque because you've also made the rotor smaller. So the engine's outputting more power, but you're spinning a smaller disc. So yeah, but there we go. And then the other way obviously is to use airspeed. So this is fix the collective.
So yeah, go back up to 90 knots.
Yeah. Fixed collective setting, and then just turn in and use pure nose attitude to stay level. And obviously you will spend airspeed, and what will happen after 45, 90 degrees turn is you won't be able to do it anymore. And so again, you'll see a transient torque change, and what will happen is you pull more and more and more and more and more, and the airspeed, and what will happen is the rate of airspeed decay will increase.
Mm-hmm.
So to start with, it won't be too bad, and as you keep going round, the nose will gradually get higher, and so to lose the first 10 knots will take you quite a while. Can you see what's happened to the rate? The airspeed's falling off now.
Yeah.
It's gone down to, and it'll change in sort of plateaus. And so that's interesting. So what's happened is you've reached your equilibrium, right, with that collective, because we had a lot of excess power. You've reached that airspeed where you no longer, are losing. But there you go. So you can see it falling off. And certainly once you fall below bucket speed, every knot we lose now will lose us lift. And so if you fall too slowly, like down to 30 knots, you'll just fall to zero, and then there you go. So that's purely done with the right hand. And then the final demo is obviously to sacrifice altitude and maintain your airspeed, which is same demo again. You set up 90 knots, you set a fixed collective setting. We need to do these with more weight on the aircraft.
We could put fuel tanks on.
Yeah, I was going to say, this might actually not be a bad sortie to put 2 tanks on. So set up some airspeed or altitude or whatever you desire. It doesn't really matter, 100 knots or 90 knots or 95 knots. And then this time it's fix the collective at straight and level, and then turn in and keep the airspeed, which will involve being nose down, obviously, or descending, not necessarily being nose down. But
yeah, like that.
Like that.
Okay.
And there you go. So yeah, helicopter turning 101.
How quickly does the sun go down in the
I know, in the desert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, where are we actually going? Okay, 90 degrees more. I guess we can pretty call it there then, right?
I think, yeah, that's it. So transient torques, pull up, RPM rise, pitch down in the turns.
Mm-hmm.
Weight versus lift versus collective, positive negative G, and dive recoveries all complete. Which means we are going back to Boulder City, to overfly Boulder City, to go wherever the hell we were going.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yes. Right, let me sort that low alt warning.
Yeah.
I'm going to set that to 50.
Yep, and fuel check complete as well.
Oh sweet. Oh yes, fuel check complete. Check. So there you go, that's what it gives you. Run time, run start, your average rate burnout, and your time until you hit your reserves.
Yeah, okay, I'm switching my displays to night because it's getting dark.
Boulder City traffic, code 61, single ship Apache, 2.5 miles out to the south, going to overfly the field, 28 800 and depart northbound.
Straight through the traffic pattern altitude.
Yeah. There's no one else here, is there? While we're getting there, I'm just gonna go off comms for 2 seconds because I'm gonna switch my room lights out because it's getting very bright. I can't see shit. Actually, I might. Oh no, I am off headset. Alright, back on.
Okay.
And you wanted me to. This was you flying.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
Nav, wasn't it? Yeah. Right, route cards. It is this one, so it is from Boulder City. It is a heading of 359 for 5 minutes 26 seconds at 100 ground speed. And I think that looks so. Heading 359 is set, and we are turning. Time is running.
Okay, there's 359
Agreed.
ish.
Yep.
Visual the crane.
I'm not.
On the right. 1 o'clock.
Visual. Yeah. It was like right behind the metalwork for me.
Yeah, I know, that's the risk of these Tokyo drift flights.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, coming a little bit off the heading here. There's the reset.
Ah, I've just discovered a bit of a bug.
Mm-hmm.
The timer stops if you leave the instrument page. The one TSD does anyway.
I'm
Were you
not-
using the upfront?
I was using I was using the upfront. It's still running. It says 46 minutes on mine. Okay, well.
Oh, no, that's interesting. It only stops if you go into the What? Huh. Well, mine just disappeared. I don't have any time, but I'm going to eyeball it. Let's
Yeah.
call that. Well, actually, we were on the edge of the city. That was one. I'm going to call that 1.5 minutes on the tick marks. Are these? Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, they're 1 minute. Yeah, 1.5 minutes. So we're going to call it 4 minutes on my new timer.
Okay.
I hope.
Well, I mean, it's,
Got a
it's
road.
a straight line, and we can see where it is. Anyway.
It's a straight line. It's a useful little exercise to
Yeah.
pick it out.
Airspeed's getting a little bit fast.
This is actually quite nice. So we got that road. Where are we? We're at 1:30 plus, so we're about 3 minutes. Yeah, got that valley we just went over. That's good. Then this one down to the right is also modelled. That one, yeah.
This is really good low-level area, actually.
This is really, yeah. River Mountains, worth knowing. Okay, that one down to the right, and then. So what we should see is we should drop down. There's a river, gully, At about the 4:30, so take the minute 30, about the 3 minutes, so in about 50 seconds, there should be a wide-ish river gully crossing the route. It says aqueduct on it. I'm guessing it's what's under the head tracker.
Yeah,
right
I
now.
agree.
And then beyond that, there's another little gully, which also looks like it's got that road in it, and that's where the road curves round and joins what we want. And when we cross the road and hit the waypoint.
Yeah, my heading control's a bit all over the place at the moment. With power changes, it's obviously changing, yeah. Which is why this leg is probably the best one to fly, because it's the hardest, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what the purpose is, to make you be able to fly the constant ground speed while changing the altitude and changing the heading, and yeah, absolutely. So that's River Gully number 2. So we should have a road, which we have, and then beyond the road, on the lake shore, should be the end of a little spur road. I'm struggling. Oh, visual just halfway between the head tracker and the flight path marker on the nose. Sweet.
Okay. Let's give that a nice straight on pass, and then we can start following the lake bed, which is hopefully distinct enough. I didn't actually check.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely is.
Okay.
That's not too bad, because we said that leg was supposed to be 5:26. We took a minute and a half off, and we are
3, 2, 1.
That's within.
Yeah.
Dude. I'm happy with that. Right. Come left, follow the lake bed.
Let's go.
Nice one.
It's almost going to turn into a night flight in a minute.
Sorry. I didn't realise what time it was. About halfway through that, I put the clock into local, and I was like, "Oh shit! It's that's a sunset, not a sunrise."
Well, look at the shadows on the trees.
I know.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh yeah. Beautiful.
Brilliant.
This is the point at which I always just double check my flare brightnesses as well.
Yeah, I might actually do that. Ah, my eyes.
Yeah, exactly. Suddenly, and just the whole contrast and everything's wrong.
Yeah.
When you set it for day. Okay, sweet. It's just a bit of systems knowledge that I don't know if you know, but given you tend to be a systems fan, what should happen when you swap, and both real and I think this is correctly modelled in DCS, is when you swap sensors, it takes your brightness settings. So if you take the PINBIS, it applies your flare brightness settings to that sensor.
But does it then, if you swap, so you set the TADs up good, I set the PINBIS up good.
Yeah.
Or rather, you set the TADs up good, I set the PINBIS up bad, and then I switch to the TADs, it will be bad for that as well.
Correct.
Yeah. But then if you take it back, it will be good for you again.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. And you actually do see it in the front. So if I've got the TADs up on my on the TDU, if you take it as a sensor, it changes in that TDU display.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I do actually see your brightness settings overrule mine because you've nicked it. So, yeah.
Okay. At what point do we need to switch lightings to night?
Technically, half an hour before civil twilight. So
now.
Yeah, not yet.
Okay.
I mean, I think the reality is when you think you'd be better off on red strobes, which is definitely not yet, is it? I mean, this is still daylight.
Yeah, especially if it's red light like it is now, it's going to be a bit
absolutely
mushed out.
Yeah, completely.
Okay, so this
right.
is the valley. It's a bit indistinct. I reckon we can follow. Actually, no, we can't follow this road. We just keep going. Is that a dam ahead?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So there's a dam in the right with the spillway in the 2 o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're following this lake, and basically what you do is you follow the lake bed, and then Lake Las Vegas, the actual little village town, is at the far end of the lake where the trees are.
Okay. Yeah, this is so much better than the Echo Bay trip.
Yeah, definitely. No,
I'm
definitely a good shout.
I'm never going to Echo Bay ever again. Okay, I'm kind of using the map actually a little bit, which I guess is
Yeah.
the idea.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, that's what I've got the map up and.
I tell you, I can't wait until I impulse buy that touchscreen. I think
So you're just waiting to have a willpower failure.
I am, because I'm here like I don't actually need it. Like I'm set up like 100% how I need it right now, and it's expensive and stuff. But I do want.
Nice.
Yeah. Maybe.
I actually. Yeah, I mean, I was really surprised how like that 20.
Oh, you've cut. You might have gone PGT. Microphone check.
Hello.
Wah wah.
Yeah, this is the weird thing that happened to me yesterday as well. My PC just shut down.
Oh, that's.
The software shut down. It hasn't crashed. It goes. Windows is now shutting down. It shuts down.
Huh, okay.
And you immediately restart it, and it's totally fine. Just really odd. What?
Are you joining back in, or do you want me to stream?
I can't join back in a functional fashion. So that's even weirder. My PC didn't shut down, it went to sleep. And it's now joined back in, like, semi-functionally.
Okay.
Your screen. I mean, it hasn't, it's now DC. But yeah, it actually, DCS survives going to sleep.
Your microphone's a little bit quiet as well. I don't know if that's.
Yeah, sorry, it's not. Yeah, it's not. Only happens in the front seat of the Apache. Well, all functional things were done. That was, I think.
Can you not direct to? No, you can. It just didn't.
Yeah, you can direct to anything. You just can't put targets and threats in a route.
I just don't have the plate, the home plate.
Yeah, you do. What's that one?
I can't see it.
Oh yeah, you do.
Okay, well that's fine. I'll just fly. Oh, I do have the range. I just don't have the home plate. How interesting.
Yeah, the actual symbol. I think there's something weird about who's keyed them in. I certainly think if the person in the front has keyed stuff in, it definitely doesn't work as reliably as the other way around. Like I've never yet had something entered by the pilot not sync to the CPG or a direct to, but if the CPG does stuff, it may or may not arrive at the pilot in a form fashion.
Yeah. No, yeah, because my direct to is still on the other thing. Where's the 5 mile mark?
A give or take at the gap.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, once you're at.
This is the flit's just. I figure it's pretty better to pick up traffic than.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I tend to bail out to that quite early actually. Oh, your pinvis stuttering thing.
Yeah, bloody
Seems like-
awful.
yeah, I think it might. So weirdly, it might be related. So there's a few people seem to have a suspicion that it's about the every frame versus not every frame setting. Because if you do set it to every frame, at least mine got better, but it also absolutely obliterated my frame rate, like totally obliterated. If you were in the front with like, I mean, I think I tried it on, I was on the Road to Head server, just trying something, and someone was in the front seat, and it was like I had video and the pinvis out, and I was on 512 every frame, and it like my frame rate went from like 60 to 60 when I turned 2 video screens on. So yeah, I think there's sort of like something going on there.
Yeah.
Different. It's updating it like an MFD basically.
It is
Yeah.
nice and pixelated though.
Control Gate 6-1, approaching Sunrise, recovery point, switching tower. That's okay, 6-1, inbound Sunrise recovery from the south.
Turn this off, can't see shit. Is it going to be a problem trying to do that Jolly East landing in 15 knots of crosswind?
Shouldn't be.
Okay.
Yeah, where's the wind from?
70-ish, no, 250.
Yeah, 243. So it's right of 21. Yeah, it actually won't be too bad because the wind's from 20 degrees, 25 degrees right of 21, and that taxiway is oriented about 45 degrees right of 21, so you're probably only going to have like
A couple of knots, yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay, 6-1 crossing, approach and runway 21 left to right.
The only place that there's power and sleep but like the same location for mine.
Okay, 6-1 clear of the approach until right.
Altitude low. Altitude low.
Simple.
I didn't see that. I'm assuming that wasn't.
Target 61 from Jolly East Taxi Hotel ramp shutdown.
Whoa, May. That was not nice.
So,
Is the brake on?
parking brake off, tail wheel locked.
The tail was unlocked at the moment because I'm about to do a ground taxi, but
Okay.
does the searchlight do anything?
Have you not tried it? Yeah, so can the searchlight
It doesn't even go out anymore. You have no control over it, doesn't do anything. No, it just doesn't move anymore. Okay.
Yeah, it's absolutely pathetic. It's like, it's a Tesco's like 60-watt halogen bulb.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, no, taxi driver wants that
Now this was actually, I identified this with Peregrine, is that when you're coming around this back end here, you swing into the spot, those generators are right primed to take out your tail if you just swing it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Go on, lock. There you go.
Target 61 check down on Hotel 02.
I think that searchlight thing might be a bug, and I think it might be to do with running it whilst it's on the battery.
Right, okay, that's
I need to test that because I can't think of any other reason why it would stop working suddenly.
that is a bit odd. I mean, yeah, it definitely has worked.
And it was working at the start of the flight as well, like.
Yeah.
Has Peregrine told you off for doing the collective lift thing to slow the rotor yet?
Yes.
Yeah. I did the same thing. And he was like, don't do that. I was like, okay. Okay, rudder brake off. External lights are off.